Welcome back to Quest for Completion Extras. Listen, this is not an April Fool's video. It's just let me explain myself. All right, this is gonna sound so strange, but I was doing Quest for Completion 14, and we got 3 achievements left for Ultimate Defender. We got Transcendent Survivalist. I got Monsters in my pocket, and that other one that I forgot the name of. I actually did that other one on accident in the last video, funnily enough. But here's the thing. I got bored. Transcendent Survivalist is boring. Oh my god. And by the way, I found out Transcendent Survivalist, they really do mean survival. Pure strategy does not count. I did pure strategy on all the maps that you'd have to up until wave 25. On all of those maps, did not give me the achievement. So I just wasted a whole bunch of time. And more importantly, I was doing ramparts. It's 8 minutes a wave on ramparts. I'm not kidding. At least on pure strat, it was so boring. So here's the rundown. I got bored. I go onto YouTube and I see a video, a YouTube short from Theorian, my goat, and it's a map of the week YouTube short because there's a new map of the week for April. And you know what the map of the week is? Fucking Spring Valley. Who the hell is doing Spring Valley map of the week? And I'm wondering, okay, Theorian, like, every time he does these videos, right, with his beautiful, buttery, smooth voice, he tells us, here's the map, here's, like, you know, what you want to farm on it, the grid things to look out for, and I'm wondering, is there anything really to farm for on this map for the endgame people like Theo? No, there's nothing. But he brings up something about it, right? And he says, map of the week, this map of the week is actually pretty good for new players because of the chicken baller. It's a very good intermediate, you know, stepping stone weapon thingamabobber. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but basically he says Spring Valley, or the map of the week for Spring Valley, is like really good to do because you get the chicken baller, and you know you got to do it at some point because tower boost weapon. And I thought to myself, yeah, that makes sense. Wait, no, it doesn't make sense for a variety of reasons. As a starting point, you don't need the chicken baller anymore. There's a better mana gathering weapon for pretty much all cases in the form of this, the Madness Ball Thrower that you get from this map. And this map has such good rates that like you can do it on Insane and get a perfectly good one really, really easily. So, no, you don't really need to do the chicken or the, Spring Valley at all. He did also bring up the fact that you get, what was it called? Eggs from it, and you can turn those into the chicken pet, and that's apparently a pretty good DPS pet, but I'm gonna be honest, I never did that. And I'll do that later, but I didn't do that way back in the day because we just didn't need to. You know, especially now with the DPS pets, you can just go ahead and get like a little wizard pretty damn easily, and that one will do you just fine. But that's besides the point. But it kind of was confusing to me because like he made builds on the Madness Ball Thrower map, this one that we're on, Forest Ogre Crush, yes. Why would, like, it doesn't really make sense for him to say that Crystal Valley is really worth the time for new players just for that. And I guess it's not just for that. It doesn't make sense to me, right? Especially, here's the other part. Here's what really threw me for a loop. He's saying for new players, right? Map of the week only applies on Nightmare and Ruthless. What do you mean new players? Dude, what kind of a new player is gonna be on fucking Nightmare or Ruthless Spring Valley? That shit's crazy hard. That's so intense. Like, honestly, even for endgame players, it's, I don't know, maybe it's not crazy hard and intense, but there's no real reason to do it. So I was confused because Theo's a smart guy, and like, it doesn't make sense. You know, the numbers don't add up. And then I like, listen, I'm gonna be honest. It took me a while to realize this because I'm stupid. He's joking. Yeah, it's an April 1st video. Map of the week doesn't, he knows map of the week doesn't apply on difficulties like Insane, which is the only thing that you'd be doing Spring Valley on if you're like a newer player. By the time you can do Spring Valley on Nightmare, you can comfortably do this map on Insane or Nightmare, or probably even Ruthless. So yeah, no, I got. Who would have thought? Theorian is big brain, and I am just very gullible. So congrats to him. You got me. Anyways, as you saw with the build here, sorry, I've not been talking too much about it. We're doing 2 aura stacks, and then mortar towers. Mortar towers, so good, so good. And as you saw with the physical barriers, we're relying on a couple of things, but one of them is the fact that ogres, and also forest ogres, are kind of dumb. And when they're near a wall, they'll just sit there and be like, ah, yes. Rug like wall. because as long as they're getting consistently hit by whatever is behind the wall, they'll be so focused on trying to get over to the other side of the wall that they'll forget that there's a wall and they just won't damage it. And sure, the forest ogres, they'll like, 4 or 5 shot your walls, but if they're constantly getting hit by a tower, they're not going to do that. And wouldn't you know it, guess what the mortars do? They constantly hit. In fact, they hit so fast, and they have a massive AoE. It's crazy. Like, seriously, I tried this with a warden and like wisp dens and shit. Nuh-uh. No. Mortar towers all the way. Crazy big AoE radius. Very good DPS. Very good fire rate. Just everything you could ask for. Like, it's insane. And by the way, I'm doing this map with around the same stats that I had when I did Spring Valley. So I think around like somewhere in the range of like 2k in our primary stat. And everything that I have in terms of gear, guardians, weapons, all that business, that's all stuff that you could get with those 2k stats pretty easily. Pretty damn easily. But the setup is basically one mortar tower facing each direction until you reach like 97-ish DU. Then place down those web walls, the pylons. By the way, the pylons are just in case, for 1 split second, a forest ogre catches the single brain cell that all 2 trillion of them across all of Dungeon Defenders are sharing. And he's like, all right, I can hit the wall. The pylon, upgrade the pylon to max, upgrade your auras to max, basically upgrade everything to max, and you'll be able to tank any amount of damage that you need to for the forest golems, or forest ogres, before they take down your wall. So that's why we have that there. And we're going to be relying a lot on both tower DPS and player DPS. The weapon that we're using is from Halloween Spooktacular. I'm not even kidding, by the way. I found a build, and by I found, I mean somebody on Dundee Planet. I'll link it in the comments. Made a build for Halloween Spooktacular on Ruthless Hardcore that lets you get the map finished on 500 stats. Insane! That's crazy. So, you can get the weapon really easily no matter what. But basically what we're doing is the mortars distract the ever-living shite out of the main mob, or out of the, out of the stack of towers, or ogres and forest ogres. That way they don't generally hit the wall. And then in the meantime, we focus dealing damage with our weapons, and also tower boosting and hero boosting, because it is a very considerable amount of damage from the mortars. Like, seriously, the mortars are... They got me thinking, all right? I'm just saying, mortars, they got me rethinking a lot of things. These are... God, they're so cool! They're so cool! Why didn't I use these earlier? It's because they weren't in the game, but still. So right now, there aren't any forest ogres just yet. So for these first few waves, all you gotta do, just focus on upgrading your walls to maximum. The walls, the pylons, the web walls. By the way, that web wall, man, it's sad. There's something going on with the web walls. These guys are only providing like a 10-25%-ish increase to our overall damage, even though we're webbing everything constantly. They're just not that powerful. And you might be thinking, hey, why don't you just use spider minions? If a spider minion hits the enemy, that's literally 2 times damage. And like, I could put a trillion spiders around here. We're not using the DU or the MU for anything else, right? Unfortunately, I tried it out, and the spiders, they're on strike. All right, I don't know what happened, but the spiders, they've unionized trendy or chromatic games. They're not treating the spiders very well. They just don't shoot. They don't do anything. I have no idea why. It's not even a stats thing, by the way. I have like 1,000 range or 500, whatever range I would need to reach with the spiders. They just completely are like, nah, I'm not gonna web anything. I'm just gonna sit here and look pretty. So that's kind of annoying, but despite that being kind of an annoying thing, it's still not a problem because you can get through it very easily. And one of the really nice things about this map is, just like Spring Valley, you don't need to do the map on like a really high, or you don't need to constantly repeat the map. You just need one weapon, one completion, and all you need in terms of weapon requirements is maxed out projectile speed, and it needs to deal 2,100, I think it's the number 2,200 damage per weapon hit on Nightmare or above. That's just to like maximize your genie abilities. So anyways, all that's to say, you just need to get a good enough one. And the rates on this map, even on Insane, are crazy good. You should more than easily more than easily be able to get a ball thrower, madness ball thrower, that is good enough to, you know, have a mana gathering weapon within one run. Which is really nice because in case you do fail, you know, they start attacking the walls, this or that, right? In case stuff like that starts happening, you're still fine because maybe you'll lose one run, but at the end of the day, you don't need more than one run to do everything you need to do. Also, upgrade this reflection wall to like near maximum because it just takes a beating, man. Holy hell. By the way, I didn't point this out earlier because I'm stupid. You see that monk over there? I have him set up to constantly shoot. And in a second here, I think I'll press F8 and I'll show his screen. I think, right? I'm pretty sure I do that. Yeah, I do. Notice how I put him like shooting kind of in the middle? That's because we want to DPS both areas at the same time. You could probably have the monk with just the genie pet and have him DPSing this like main stack, but the reason that I'm doing this with a jester instead of like any other hero is because of the fact that the jester, he has really fast cast rate. So in case they do start damaging your wall and you're like in the pits, you can go ahead and repair it really, really fast. But also, I was just too lazy to get another character, so I don't know, I just stuck with the jester. Also, jester has like two slots, so he's pretty cool for that. But realistically speaking, I mean, you need to do this one time ever, and you only need one completion. So you don't need to do it with a jester. You just need somebody else who can use this weapon. So like, not a hermit, I guess, because a hermit, you know, he can't use the range attack. So, but a monk or a warden, whatever really works. I just chose a jester because it's convenient and I had it lying around. By the way, I'm on local mode in case I didn't say that earlier. Thank God for local mode for making extras videos because, dude, it would suck so much balls to try and do this on main, to try and test things out on main, because having to unequip and re-equip items, listen, at some point, I would probably end up selling, like, my little wizard pet or a bunch of my gear because I'm just lazy. But on local mode, you know, I just export my save here, fucking delete half my items, and then just lower my stats until I have whatever I need. And the lowering stats, man, it's kind of annoying. It's a very annoying process no matter what. It'd be really cool if somebody could make, like, a mod or something for Dungeon Defenders, you know, for local mode and all that. Maybe the developers could do this, honestly. It'd be a really cool idea. Where it just allows you to set whatever stats you want on your characters, I guess within the limits of, like, whatever is the maximum. So that way, you know, if you want to test out a build or try out things, I'm really just saying this from me, but I'm sure other people would benefit from this. If you want to test out a build, having some ability to just, like, set all your stats to 500 or set this stat to this. Again, on local, I'm not asking for this on live because that would be, you know, defeat the whole point of the game. It would be really nice just for helping test things out. But to be fair, I'm pretty sure it's only like me that's benefiting from that, at least for the most part. Anyways, basically what you do every round is you tower boost, and then you, after a little while, you start hero boosting. And then once you've done that, assuming you're using a jester like I am, you just dump mana. You just all the mana as much as you can. Like, you'll have a ton of mana lying around at the end of this because normally your mana, your big mana, like 500 mana chunks, they'll be eaten up by the regular mobs, you know, orcs or goblins or whatever the hell. They'll drop like 10 mana, and there's only so many mana crystals that can exist on the ground at once. So what'll happen is, like, you'll have, you know, 500 mana crystals all lying around you, but there's only so many mana that can exist. So you'll kill an orc or a goblin, and then 10 mana drops from them, and then suddenly your 500 mana crystal is gone because the limit was reached. But on this map, not really that much of a problem. So you can just dump a ton of mana to your heart's content. You know, there's not that many enemies. In fact, the amount of enemies we have right now, 90, that's more or less the cap. We reached that cap a while ago. So all that's to say, you can keep your tower boost up and your hero boost up throughout the entirety of the map so easily. So easily. You know, giving it second thought, it's possible Theo wasn't doing an April Fool's thing at all, and him saying Spring Valley is map of the week, nobody gaff except for people in early game. For them, this map is a must. Those are probably just like two separate statements. I kind of hope not, though, because if they are, I'm kind of dumb. By the way, on the Forest Ogres, it says there's 12 Forest Ogres, but I don't know if it's like 12 Forest Ogres and that's it, or if it means 12 Forest Ogres, but we're only counting the ones that spawn naturally, and you could potentially get them from the Sky copies. Because that could be a thing. I don't know. Chromatic Games, the development team on this game, you guys are pretty evil. I wouldn't be surprised if you decided to do this, you know? I wouldn't put it past you guys. But, I mean, you can see, the weapon that we have here, the bat weapon from Halloween Spooktacular, it deals really good well, it deals really good damage because we're on fucking... we're on Insane, so we get 6 times the damage that we have on Nightmare. But it has really good damage, really good AoE, and it has a lot of projectiles. And because we're, you know, hitting ogres and forest ogres, pretty much every one of those projectiles is hitting. And I did actually, by the way, I did test this out, and even without doing crazy hero damage as we are here, I think roughly around the 2k stat threshold that we're doing here, you know, again, around the same stats that I did Spring Valley with, you can do this map with just the towers. Mortar towers are just that powerful. It will probably require a lot more micro because they'll wisen up and start hitting your walls after a little while, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But also, why would you do that? You know, why would you do that? I'm gonna be honest. I've run out of dialogue completely. I have right now Quest for Completion 14. I have a ton of footage to go through. God, I have so much footage to go through. And it's all boring footage. So I guess, like, I'm not sure how long the video is gonna end up being. The previous one was like 3 hours, but I was doing challenges, campaigns, all the cool stuff. This one is just like, you know, pure strategy sometimes, which was a complete waste of my time, by the way. And survival, which is boring. I do like one campaign throughout the entire thing, and that's Talay Mining Complex. By the way, fun little story on Talay Mining Complex. So as some of you may know, I was banned from the game for like a while, way back when, and I got banned like 10 years ago because I was a child and I decided to use cheat engine back when that worked. And I gave myself like 1 trillion stats, and I remember this distinctly. I was on Talay Mining Complex, right? And I was messing around like, dude, I have insane stats. I'm gonna fucking... Everything looks so cool. I was using the mortar towers, or not the mortar towers, the like ball turrets. And I was like aiming them kind of towards the middle so that the balls would like bounce around from the fan, and it was filling the map. It was crazy. It was so visually awesome. But like, you know, I was cheating them. So some guy in a reindeer costume that you get from, whatchamacallit, from Ethereum Extravaganza, that nightmare of a map, he joins in, puts 3 dots in the chat. Tomorrow, next day, I wake up, account's banned, and I'm destroyed. I put literally 400 hours into the game on local, or more, honestly, I'm not sure, probably more, because like, I was banned, but I still really wanted to play the game. It's a really good game. So, you know, I put a lot of time in the game, and after a while, you know, I accepted defeat, and then time passed, I came back, all that business, and Quest for Completion was made, but all that's to say, don't cheat. Anyways, here's the rewards from the map. There were some weird things that we got here, some really weird things, like this boxing glove that is ultimate but sells for 1,700 mana, which is fucking weird as shit. An ultimate plus weapon, which is weird considering we're on Insane and not any higher difficulty, but Madness Ball Thrower, here's all 3 of them. We got 3 Mythicals and a Transcendent. Pretty much to be expected. Even if it only has like 100 upgrades, you can manage perfectly fine. By the way, you also get accessories on this map, and I mean, for the stats you have, these accessories, these aren't that bad. I don't know if I would particularly grind it, but you know, it's a nice silver lining cherry on top thing. You can see this one that we got that was Transcendent. That's the one that I'm going to be upgrading. And again, all you really need for it is maxed out projectile speed bonus, maxed out projectile count, and then you just need to upgrade the range damage on it to, like, I think roughly 4,000 is what you should need to hit for 2,100 damage per ball on Nightmare. But you have to be on, obviously you have to be on a monk, because for whatever reason, Jester just does not scale particularly well. Also, my tavern is full of items. My stash is full of items. God, I need Ultimate Defender just for the storage space more than anything. So, where is it? There's on the bottom left. Come on, big brain. There it is. Equip it here, and you can see it does a lot more damage on the monk. Or no, it's the same damage. Wait, what am I talking about? But whatever, it's fine. Just upgrade it a little bit more. 100 and what? 120 upgrades-ish, maybe 100, whatever. And look at that, we're dealing 2,600 damage per upgrade, which is around the requirement that we needed to do everything. And by the way, do you remember earlier when I said I was doing this map with the stats like 2K? I lied. I lied about that. We're doing this map with 5K stats, or 500 stats. Not even 2K, not even 1K. And everything that we have, all the pets, all the weapons, you can get it on 500 stats, because like what I mentioned earlier, kind of crazy. But Halloween Spectacular is insane. But yeah, don't do Spring Valley. You don't need to. Video's black completely right now. Thank you for watching. God, I have to go back to Transcendent Survivalist. Oh.